Mhm. Good God. Woohoo. Thanks.
Hello.
Thank you, Deshaun. He said, bless me. I sneezed. You missed it.
I did. How are you?
Good.
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 I want people to understand the sacrifice that I'm making right now, being here with y'all.
Let's hear about it.
On my night. I know, I'm kidding. KU plays Duke tonight. It's a big game.
Oh, that is a big game.
Yeah.
Games can be recorded, though.
Oh, yeah, I know. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not, we play them, I think, every year, and it's in the tournament with Michigan State and all that good jazz. So it's not like it's,
Dude gets in my lap. He just acts like he knows it's time for the live, and I'm gonna be sitting here for a while. So he just
He
bombards
does the same thing. He's just like,
Hey,
again, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah.
For real.
what's up?
Woohoo.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah. What's up, bro?
What up, my man?
What's up?
Man, that video of pressure the other day was hilarious.
I
I've
know.
Oh
never
my
seen a dog do that. That is
God.
I'd
hilarious. I
never.
bet died.
And what's crazy is like you could get a pig's ear, you can get anything, and he'll get excited about it. You know what I mean? But not like that.
Man, I've
Like
never seen a dog that excited. Like,
I
that was the
know
cutest thing.
it was.
Man, he loves some fish,
He
man.
does, man. I mean, he just went
Well, and
like
I
he.
love that he knows that that's his. Like, you get it from
Mhm.
him. Like, he knows it's his, and yet he's just like,
It's
oh my God,
special
So
go see
to
if
him,
my
man. It's like
dog.
a special
it
trip, and
started off.
he
So I
loves
got
it.
in the truck, and I had the little sack, and I sat down in the dump truck's driver's seat, and I'm looking out the windshield. I never even like looked at him or nothing, and I just fished it out of there, and I took me a bite of it, and I was like, and then I was gonna turn and mess with him, like, what are you even looking at me, bro? And and when and when I turned to look at him, he was doing that, and I was like, oh my God! And then I was like, I got a video of this, so
You can't,
Yeah, man.
yeah, you can't
That was
not
love.
do it. Come on.
yeah.
That
It
was
was
I've
about
never.
like almost like a seizure, almost the
It
way he
kind
was
of,
so.
it really does look that way. And that's what I find so wild is that, like, he literally is like shaking like he's
It's nuts, and he won't do that about anything else. I don't know what it is about that fish. He just really partial to it.
really big fish fan.
Hmm.
You ain't lying. His favorite food is definitely fish.
Definitely.
Like, there ain't no
Yeah,
doubt
there's
about
no way
that.
around that.
Look at dude just me down, man. He's like, it's like,
He
bro.
hears us talking. He's like, I still want that fish.
He's like, did I hear fish?
Do I sense
That's
something
that,
fishy going on here?
look at that shoulder right there, boy. Dang.
Yeah. He's rippling out. How old is he now, babe?
He's 21. No, he's 23 months. He's about to be 2 in December. December 27th, he'll be 2.
Dang, yeah, he's got plenty of time. Like he
Yeah.
is not even close to done.
And he's starting to look really good. Like, head's filling out, and muscle tones getting next level. He's starting to get his grown man on. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, man.
Got
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a matter of time, but like some bloods move a little slower than others. But like I find that you like when they hit that muscled, like everything starts rippling. You're like, oh man, this is.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's funny. There is a lot of time range in blood depending on where the dogs come from.
Yep.
I've seen dogs that look absolutely grown at 15 months.
Me too.
And
Yeah, I've seen.
and I've
Well,
seen
yeah.
them that's still growing at 3 years old. What's up, Bruce?
What's up, my posse?
Bruce.
Hey, baby.
What's going on?
Big Unk, man.
What's that?
We just sitting here chopping it up, man. You know how we do it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
ain't
running a
been
little bit behind.
home that long.
Huh?
I said I hadn't been home that long.
Me either. I got here
Mm-hmm.
literally like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So
Really?
I had to jump in the shower and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's what I should have done as soon as I got home, and I sat down with my wife and got to chit chat in a minute, and now I got to take one after the show.
Now he's
Oh,
stinking. I'm so stinking.
Bro, I drive a truck. I don't get stinking.
Yes, but without further ado, we have come to our final week on this live, and Amanda Jean Nixon is our final and fourth person that's going on this for our 2-year anniversary.
Last but certainly not least.
And you know what? It is a great time after the show, too. It was right on point, guys. Right on point. No
Amanda,
doubt.
without further ado, introduce yourself.
well, for anybody that's watching for the first time or has forgotten my name, my name's Amanda Nixon. I'm part of this awesome QuadCast crew, Tuesday Night Bully Talk. Gosh, it's been 2 years. So I got inducted into servitude. I want to say it was Valentine's Day year before last. So yeah, I'm coming up on my personal 2-year with y'all. So it's fun. I'm trying to do something very, very, very serious right now.
He said, "This is our night. This is our night. This isn't yours.
Yeah.
Look how
What's
sweet
yours is
that boy
mine."
is.
Apparently.
Well,
He deserves
first
all
of
the
all,
attention.
congratulations
Thank you.
for your
Thank you.
weekend. I've yet to experience such a lovely feeling, I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about that.
To be honest with you, I had no idea I'd gotten enough points. I didn't know. End of show. So the whole time I'm just coasting, just being like, I don't even know if we're there yet. And so we're just kind of jamming out, doing all 3 shows. It wasn't until the 3rd show that I finally, they were just like, you made it, right? I'm like, what? So this whole so I don't even know if I had the actual moment of when you actually get that last win and you're just like about to tear up and you're just like shaking hands. I'm like, I did it. I didn't have that moment because I didn't know until after everything was all said and done. And I was like, oh, well, damn. But no, I mean, it was good. It was good afterwards though, because there were just great people around me, and I had like Vicky and Corey, and you end up having like pretty much, I mean, Daniel, the host of the show at that time, or for this particular show, and it was just like one of those things where you have all these people that you've kind of been around, and guys have experienced all kinds of stuff together, and this is just, you just add this to the big picture. So it was yeah. And here's the part that wrap your head around this stuff. After I found out that I'd already, I'd made it, right? They're just like, that like classic, you could have been in the champion class. You could have showed him in the champion class for show 3, right? I'm like, sorry.
You could have got champion points and didn't even know it.
Yeah,
Yes.
he could have possibly got a champion win, and I because I didn't know. It wasn't until after show 3 they're like, oh yeah, you made it. And I mean, they were very nonchalant about it, which is, I mean, because, as you are, you're just like, yeah, you made it. I mean, it's not their dog.
So for the few, if any, people listening that don't know what we're talking about, specifically, what did you win and with who did you win?
So my XL, Simply Chaotic's Adonis, Indomitable Adonis is his full name, but we've been campaigning in multiple different registries, and this the ICBR this past weekend we gained enough points to get our first champion title for him. So it was insane. Yeah, blame it on the wine, Vicky.
Oh, huge
Daniel cracked up with
congratulations.
some wine at the very, very end, and I swear that stuff had something else in it, because it was, zing. Yeah, he'll be able to tell you which one. He'll probably tag it here in a minute. But yeah, so I think having that champion title, obviously in the ICBR, I'll probably still continue to campaign him on to get the grand. Now that I know I'm gonna compete in champions.
Well, I want to I want to not only congratulate you, but compliment you on your diligence, but also in actually putting your dog in the ring yourself and champing it out. To me, that's something that not everybody can do, as well as you do it, and you did that. When you train a dog and you champ them out, and you're the one showing them, that's really
It
something.
goes a little
And I'm really,
bit farther.
it
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
because it's all
Yeah.
it's all you and the
Oh yeah.
dog, and so it's a little more of a proud moment. Yeah, I would imagine. For me, it would be like, and
Yeah.
Caleb redirected my path on that when because I was like, oh no, I don't want something I do, some mistake I make to get in the
Yeah.
way of what my dog's capable of, and Caleb's like, I hear that, but what if he wins it and it's not with you? I mean, wouldn't you rather champ out your own dog, And I was like, oh my God, I have to do this myself.
Yeah.
And
Michael
that's
got
just
me in
how I
trouble that
felt.
night, man. Michael got me in trouble. That's why I'm laughing.
I did. I
I was
totally
wondering
did.
where that was going, Caleb, because you were chuckling there. So
Oh,
I think someone
yes,
has an
but
echo.
no. Shoot.
Someone has an echo.
Is it me?
I have no idea.
It's
I have
probably
no idea.
it's probably me. Let me try to fix it.
But with what are you doing? Did you shock yourself? Sorry,
Is it?
he's
Is
weird.
there still an echo? No, it's not.
No, I'm not hearing
It's
anything.
it's Caleb.
It was Caleb.
Yep.
With Adonis, like I remember when I first started taking him to shows, my friend Nigel was helping me train him and getting him in the ring. The first 2 shows, in fact, well, first show and a half, really. He was the one bringing him in the ring, and eventually it was the second show that we went to, and he looked at me and he's just like, "Hey, he's just not. I have a feeling about something. Let me see something." And he had me gate him, and as soon as we got done, kind of gating around and everything, he did a practice inspection and everything. And he's like, "I don't even know why I'm here." He's just like, "You're gonna have to do this." And of course, I'm freaking out. It's like, I don't know how, freaking out. Like, I really don't want to get in the ring with this dog. And yet, like, the moment we did it, This was at one of Leo's shows. It was one of the ABKC free shows, so it was free to go, and it was outdoors in November, like, and I took this dog out in the grass in this open park and went into the ring for the first time, and I've been hooked ever since. It really is addictive. It's a vibe, and ever since then, like I don't want anybody to take him in the ring. It's got to be me. I don't know why.
I get it. I do.
But
yeah, it's a really cool feeling, man, to, you know, whether you champ out or just win or even just show and actually be able to start inching your way through those obstacles of that challenge, you know, and working towards your goal with your dog. It's really not comparable to anything else I've experienced in my life. It's great.
oh,
It's
oh
great. And
yeah,
the dogs know, you know,
yeah,
like not,
I
not only do they know they're in the ring, not only do they know that you're leading them around and they're doing what you're training them to do and finally getting to show what they've learned, but they know they're competing.
yeah, I think, I mean, and I say, what I find so hysterical is that Adonis is just such a copacetic guy. Like, he's not out there really to compete. He likes being looked at, but he just kind of glides around. He does what I want him to do. He goes into autopilot. He's not like for example, you know, in contrast, one of the best examples of a dog that's just happy to be there, you know, was Grand Champion Genesis. Like, he was happy to be there, and like you could tell there was no mistaking it. Like, he knew what he was doing, he knew everyone was watching, and he was soaking it up, baby.
Yeah.
Adonis doesn't really care. Like, he's just like, he's gonna go in that ring, he's gonna do what mama wants him to do, he's gonna do it, you know, very well, and that's it. And then, you know, I've tried to, you know, as soon as, you know, we win something, I'm just like, hey buddy, you know, I'm just trying to get all excited with him. He's like, yeah, okay. he's, just, he's just gonna,
Is
yeah,
he?
it's not as exciting, you know, it's not as exciting for him, I think, but yeah, Helios is a little different. I think he gets super excited when we do something, and I get excited. He's like, oh, I don't know what we're happy about. Okay, so he might be a really really fun win. But with him, I think our campaign will probably start with mainly with BRC, and then ABKC, or, you know, kind of in tandem with the two. Adonis's next campaign will be finishing up in the UKC.
Nice. When is that? Is the Echo
So
still there?
yeah, a little bit. The UKC show that I think is probably going to be closest, that's going to be the most closest upcoming, is going to be the Ottagaville one. I want to say it's River Region Kennel Club hosts it in Ottagaville, which is just outside of Montgomery. So it's essentially, you know, the same distance as I would have traveled for the show last weekend. But yeah, so he's already got several points in UKC and majors and whatnot. They really enjoy his framework and his movement and everything there. So I think that you know, going ahead and finishing up his title there won't be an overhaul. So I think that'll be our next venture, and then, you know, starting to look for females to stud him out.
Hey guys, look, about 5 minutes ago, Justin asked, do points from one registry count in others?
No.
Justin, no, it does not.
Nope.
Um, whatever registry you get your dog, you can do any registry you want, but they don't accumulate points together.
Right. Correct.
And also, Amanda, I guess we kind of got off track a little bit. Hector asked earlier, how did you get into dogs and everything?
Oh boy. So dogs have always been a thing in my family. I mean, I grew up, my grandparents, they bred golden retrievers, the hunting kind, not those cute little dainty ones you see at Westminster with the long, beautiful fur. No, these were like the bears of their breed that actually did the hunting. So being raised with hunting dogs, and We had obviously house dogs that I grew up with, none of which were small. We never owned a small dog. So I kind of had an affinity for larger dogs anyways. But when I was in Boise, early part of the 2000s, I started doing work with pit bulls and, doing foster rescue, helping, friends with their litters and whatnot. But then obviously I decided I was like, I kind of want to get one of my own. So I ended up getting a male off of a friend of ours, and I picked him because when we went over there to go and check out the litter, all the other pups were, just terribly well balanced and just small and cute and wrinkly, whatever. He was just massive in the front. And as we're standing out on the front patio, he's walking towards the front door, trying to come to me because I'm calling him. And he's so front heavy that he just topples out. And obviously I was like, okay, that one. So
Yeah, it's funny.
he's just so big. And I was immediately like, okay, I really want this dog that's just, this massive front end dog. And so I ended up getting Loki, and he was just built different. Like when you sit there and you buy a pit bull, most people there, back in early 2000s, they're thinking the gamey style, or right around the time when they started getting a little blockier, depending on whether or not they were duly registered as an AM staff. But with Loki, I traced back some of his lineage on his dad's side and found out that yes, he has both AmStaff, AKC, and Pitbull ADBA on both sides, and so he was actually a mix of the two, but registered as a Pitbull. So I found out later that a pup off of one of his litters up in Nampa, Idaho, and I think Red Smith from 2K Kennels, I want to say, he ended up with one of those pups, one of those, I want to say it was a female, and he actually used that as his foundations to build American Bullies up there. I had no idea until years later, because somebody actually got a pup off of that from Red and was just like, oh, this has Loki in there. I was like, what? So I have no idea, but yeah, I started.
So that Loki blood came from Razor's Edge.
So Loki didn't have any Razor's Edge. I'm trying to remember if the female that he was taken to.
Is that the Loki or is that your Loki?
No. This is no. This is High Desert Loki wreaking havoc, an entirely different dog. This is, but again, back up in Idaho.
Loki came from Razor's Edge, though, right?
I think so, but no, mine was not Razor's Edge. She was.
If you're still on here, where did Loki come from? Because I know.
Hit us up.
I know. Well, I know a lot of his blood, which is the same blood that I have now too, is Loki. Comes from Loki, but I was wondering if it was the same Loki. I guess.
Yeah, Adam said different Loki.
Yeah.
But Amanda, I love it because talking dogs with you, you go back to watching Westminster on Thanksgiving with your grandmother and your family, and the roots run deep, like with the dogs. Where did the passion for the dogs come from? Because your knowledge came, and your knowledge is incredible. Like you educate us every week, but it's where did this love for the dogs and the breed come from?
First, so You Can Do the Dog Show. That's the one that's on Thanksgiving. The Westminster is later on in the year, but earlier on. Sorry. But no, I watched both religiously with my mom, with my grandparents, because again, they were breeders. It was just one of those things that it kind of, it was something to really, really enjoy. But I actually remember really liking analyzing these dogs as they would, do their pass-bys. And it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, I really want to know more about these breeds. So like, while everyone's like getting like Nancy Drew books and, all these, sci-fi fantasy, all these books, I was asking my mother for Simon and Schuster, reference books for dog breeds and horse breeds. I also, did a lot of, spent a lot of time reading books about horse breeds and history and whatnot. So it was just one of those things. I was a, freaking nerd. But it was just something I really found fascinating, and I liked knowing the history of why certain dogs look a certain way. The fact that they were, bred not, I mean, only companion breeds are really bred for appearance's sake, but like sporting breeds and working breeds, they were bred a specific way to do a specific job, and I always found that really, really, really neat. But it was just a passion. It was just something that I've been reading about since I was a kid. I was a nerd.
How crazy that you started with literally like dissecting breedings and working dogs, companion dogs, understanding the breeding, the art of it. And then you become a host on a Tuesday Night Bully Talk that's been going on for 2 years. Like now you're like, seriously, like the knowledge that you bring to the table and how you solidified this team it's untangible. And like for everyone that's watching, like when she came on, Bruce, when she came on, we hit a peak, like, and we haven't stopped. Michael joined. Man, it's just been an incredible. You should see our bully talk, our QuadCast now. QuadCast. You should see the internal group messages, man. They are hilarious. But we truly care for one each other. But Amanda, I want to give you your flowers. Tonight's your week, but you solidified this team where we are now because when you were brought in. So thank you for everything you do.
I thought it was temporary, and then it was like, no, we want you next week. I was like, oh shit. It's something I love talking dogs in a general sense with anybody that wants to hear about it. So this was like the perfect excuse to get to talk about something I really love with people that love talking about it like I do. So this was a blessing. It really was. It really was. Someone else has an echo, and I think it's you, Caleb. It's got to be you.
I don't know what Caleb is doing. What is he, Caleb?
Oh, I'm picking. I don't mean to pick on it. Bless your heart.
It was echoing pretty bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it only does it temporarily for a second, and then it goes away. But yeah, it's been a real blast to be a part of this team, and like I love the fact that I learn from every single one of you every single time. And then on top of that, the guests that we have, that have been amazing and willing to come in and, share their expertise and everything. And it's like, I learn from them every single week. This is, man, you just can't ask for more than that. You really just can't.
You really can't.
Nope.
It's a special thing. There are very few places that you can go and learn every time you get there, and this is one of them. And I like the free flowing talking that we do. We talk about all kinds of stuff. And you are the glue, Amanda. You're your personality and what you bring to the table is part of what makes this thing so conducive, and it really truly is. And it's cool. And you're bringing it for the ladies. You got a lot of respect as a female in this a lot. Like people know you wherever you go, for not just the live but the dogs. And that's really cool.
I
know. I know my daughter looks up to that. So
I look up to her like all these juniors. I just look at them like, it's like, God, I want to be you when I grow up. I wish I had that, but yeah, especially with these younger juniors coming up, especially like the female persuasionists. It's like it's really, as much as it feels like sometimes it's a man's world, there are so many amazing dog women out here. Not just the handlers, but the breeders, the whelpers. It is. You're surrounded by amazing and strong women and influential women. Man, it is. We've been so lucky to have so many on, on the show alone, and being able to also see them at, at individual events and everything like that. It's just been so freaking cool. So yeah, I mean, your daughter, she's going to be one of them one day. She already is.
Yes,
I mean,
she is.
that's what I dig. I love it.
She's
Hey, guys.
she's on her way, but she does look up to you. I can tell she's captivated by, a woman that we know doing her thing. Like she likes it, man. It's a big deal.
No, that's
Hey,
that's a lot of pressure. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So she's watching. So you better. What were you gonna say, Bruce?
oh no, I was saying that, by us having this podcast and everything, and we have all these different people coming on, it's 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 a pleasure to meet them really at the shows, you know what I'm saying? And to talk with them. And it's like we've been knowing them for a long time because you got something to talk about, these dogs, sometimes, some of them don't say nothing about the live, but it's the atmosphere that we all in, and we all, we all together and everything. It's fun. It's fun, guys. It's really fun. Caleb, you might need to stop texting in the
All right, what
comment
about now?
section.
Stop
In the comment
texting.
section.
I
Top
know.
text in the comment section. You're gonna get knocked off.
Uh,
Now we can't hear
Hey,
you.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I
I'm
haven't texted
just
you.
messing
Like,
with
is
you,
there
man. I'm
still an
just messing
echo?
with you. No, no, no,
That's
All
what
no.
right,
happened to
because
me a
no,
minute ago. I was trying to comment on one of Adam Fields' comments and got kicked off.
oh
Yeah.
no, that's
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly what
if
it
you
is.
come
Yeah,
in, and
he
you'll
is
get you'll
strong in
get
these
kicked off.
comments.
Yeah.
I
no,
gotta
for
say, well, Adam Fields has been such a staunch supporter, not just of like us in general, but like he's been an incredible friend. So it's really fun to have him in these comments, and like he's always genuinely very, very interested in what everyone has to say. And tonight apparently he wants to know a few things, and I'm trying to go back to see what questions he's had already, because I
He's
know he's had them.
he's
I
supposed
know
to have
he's
been at
had
the
them.
show. Hey, look, he's supposed to have been at the show. No Adam. Look around for
He had a
Adam. No Adam.
laundry list of stuff he really
get him,
had to
Bruce.
get to. So
Get the attention
yeah.
off me. Get him, Bruce.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry for
Hey, well,
technical
look, if he
difficulties.
ain't, if you ain't gonna show up, don't tell me you're gonna show up and then don't show up. I hate that now. Golly.
Well, so he was way more like, apparently he must have been way more forthcoming with me. He was very, very clear that he was going to try very, very hard, but he had a huge
Yeah.
list of things that he absolutely had to get done within the weekend, and so he, it looks
I'm
like he
just
was a
Yes.
little
picking
bit
on you, Adam.
swamped.
I'm just picking on you, man.
Yes. All right. But Amanda, back to you. All right. So I've been wanting to ask questions, and I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. I keep trying to get off to get back on to make sure that I can actually be heard because I want to ask you these questions.
You can be all
So
right.
you have an XL champion Adonis. You have a pocket. Your breeding program, where do you see yourself going with it? Because I know you've set limitations on yourself, and I
Yeah,
love the showing, and I love that you did this because this is responsible breeding. But let's go about where you're going with breeding.
absolutely. I do know that as far as breeding and whelping and everything like that, that is something that the whelping aspect, owning a female and going through that entire process, is just not something I'm willing to do with my schedule right now,
Yeah.
with my lifestyle. So at this point, I am officially just a stud owner. I do obviously intend on producing, with my studs, future champions that I'll be owning and campaigning. So it's just a matter of trying to be very selective with the females that I would be open to studying to. Helios is easier, I think. There's I don't. There's only very, very small fine tuning things that I would want to look at to correct and add or subtract with him. So with him, I don't feel like I'm going to have to be as picky or meticulous with the females that I'm choosing. But with Adonis, like there's goals there when it comes to finding the right female that I would be wanting my pup back from in order to continue the program. But we'll continue the bloodline. But with Adonis, obviously, I want to shrink him a smidge. I want to take about 2 to 3 inches off the torso length, maybe up to 2 inches off of his height at the withers, maybe an inch off of his muzzle. But other than that, his structure, his balance, his rear is fantastic. His shoulder set's clean. It's just one of those things where if I could add a little bit more bone in a general sense, that'd be awesome. But I think that would come along in tow with the right female with the reduction of the height. So, and obviously of the torso length. So I'm going to be really hyper picky with who I breed him to, because I don't want to be part of the problem. I mean, obviously, he's that leaner build. And while that is incredibly desirable in all breed registries, in order to obviously be more successful and more productive, as opposed to counterproductive, with the ABKC, I would want to take him in that direction, in the correct direction. So yeah, with him, I'm going to be super picky with trying to correct the things that I want and get what I want, so that way the male that I take off of that, I can campaign him far more successfully, I think.
Oh, I agree. Have you considered embarking him?
Oh, he already has an
Okay.
embark. I'll send
Well, I'd like to
it
see
to you.
it. Yeah, because there's definitely some things there that you can kind of narrow your search bar a little bit. Add some filters in there to figure out how to shorten him, how to get the shorter back. Obviously, you want a female with a shorter back. When it comes
Yeah.
to knocking a little bit of height off or some of that, you kind of need to know some certain things there and know what his COI is and stuff like that to try to control those variables as much as possible.
Absolutely. And Amanda, I asked you that question for a direct reason, because that's what we stand on. And I love the personal conversations we've had. You dissect your dogs to a degree where you're not part of the problem. You're part of the solution. And where you're talking about constantly bettering the breed and being a breed advocate, that's exactly what you do. People need to look at their brood stock, they need to look at their yard, and they need to be able to diagnose it like you do to learn what to bring it in. And I love Adam's follow-up question. Champion Adonis, what female would you bring in? He said, how would you bring in mass to Champion Adonis breeding?
We've had this discussion. I can't tell you how many times on this show. I would really, really love to take him to a taller standard female, or a very just borderline barely XL female. But either way, I would want her to have a significant amount of mass. Like, I'm not talking like extreme traits. Now, granted, if she was extreme, I would prefer it balanced naturally, of course, with both rear and front. But no, I mean, I honestly feel like a tall standard or a short XL female with a very healthy amount of mass, I think would be complementary. With Adonis, I mean, he's what I would consider a cleanup crew. If you breed to extremes, sometimes you end up with kind of characteristics that are non-conducive. They're not. They don't aid in movement. In fact, they hinder it. You end up with far more front than you do rear. That obviously ends up with bowed elbows, a multitude of things. But with Adonis, I think that he would be able to add better balance. I think he would be able to fix some messes that are made. So hopefully he'll be able to do that at minimum. But for the most part, like for again, what I would want to campaign, I'm thinking taking him to a standard female.
I love it. Selective breeding at its finest, right there in the flesh. Like that's exactly how people need to look at breedings, though, and that's why I asked, because I love your response, and that's exactly what we stand on.
Yeah, Raul,
the knowledge you have,
being objective is key. It really is too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to accept what you have and don't have.
Oh yeah, and the one thing that I pride myself on is, like, I will tell you what my dog's flaws are before you get to tell me, because no one knows them better than I do. I watch them move. I watch them do everything. Like, it's just one of those things where I should know my dogs better than anybody else, and so I should be able to pick them apart. I'm afraid of kennel blindness. Like, again, I love my dogs. I love them. I love them. I love them. Adonis, I think, is a gorgeous, gorgeous beast. And if I could make him the breed standard, I would. But he's not. Not entirely. I mean, he does have a lot of these breed type attributes. It's just he doesn't have as much mass as some of his counterparts. And I think that obviously that is something that can be added. Um, and I've admitted this. I do keep him leaner than I ought. If anybody is, I don't know. I know Nate. He has seen his sire in person. But King Spartacus is a beastly thing. He is massive, and it's just one of those things that when you look at his sire and you look at his mother, I could easily add 15 pounds without breaking a sweat. I could.
How old is he right now?
He's 4.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a strain on him. His joints
Yeah.
are developed.
Yeah.
You could put
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit on him.
I think for me it's just I as we were
Preference.
growing up, we had some dogs that, I mean, they came from a mixture of sporting breeds, but you let them get a little older and you're not nearly as diligent, and then they end up turning to fat and falling apart. So I think for me, with him being the size that he is, I've always been really careful with how much weight I put on and how long I allow it to be on. Like, whenever we're getting ready to campaign, I'll go ahead and I'll exercise him more, increase the protein a little bit, which Adam had asked earlier, how do you feed differently for campaign or for like companion dogs versus sporting animals? Obviously, the sporting breeds, working breeds, you would feed them a little bit more protein, in accordance to how much you exercise them, how much you work them. They require more protein, otherwise they'll break down. But for companion breeds, you can't overdo the protein. You'll end up with renal failure. I mean, it's bad for their kidneys. It's just not good. So, but with Adonis, he's far more active than the other dogs that I have. So with him, I can afford to put more protein in there, but I work him. So it's, he stays pretty lean, but sometimes I pack on a little bit more added protein, a few more carbs here and there when we're getting ready to campaign again, just to kind of throw some more weight on him. I usually get about a good like 8 to 10 pounds on him before a show, but I don't like to keep it on him very long. I just don't want
Adam,
his joints to get bad as he gets
yeah.
older.
Adam asked if you know what Champ Adonis is on his IGF-1, which is his body size in his embark.
You know what? I haven't looked at his embark in a bit. In a bit. I think the last time I looked at it, the only thing I can remember was the colors that he carries and the fact that I think he's 11. He's an 11 COI genetically.
He's probably double diluted, so he's
Oh,
diluted in
absolutely double diluted. Yes, he
he's
is double diluted.
diluted in the D and the B, right?
Yeah, he pretty much color-wise also, I think there's everything except for tri, which makes sense because literally not one dog in his pedigree is a tri animal, so that makes
So
sense.
he's probably AY in the A locus too.
Possibly. Yeah. I'll send you the invite because now I'm like super interested. And when obviously Helios comes back, I'll send that one to you as well because I'm super interested because his is going to be very.
Well, with the A locus, probably if it's not ATAT, then it doesn't have the tan points. The AT stands for the tan points. It can be covered up by the K, but probably doesn't have the ATAT being diluted like he is if he's
No, and again, he doesn't. None of the other dogs in his pedigree were trying appearance unless they were ghosts, and even then, but yeah, it's. But there's let's see here. How much does he weigh? He weighs 102. At present, I've gotten him up to about 110 at times, and then he is 4.5 almost.
110, 110 is not a bad weight for him. I mean, I don't think that's a heavy weight that I would worry about joint issues with that little extra weight. But I know you like them light. I
He
keep
moves
mine
so
light
better.
most of the time too. So
Yeah.
He moves so beautiful when he's not weighed down so much. I mean, but he's got like, so one of the good things about Adonis's rear set is that he's got some really good inner thigh. So which is where he gets that great shape from. But sometimes I feel like adding too much weight would change the way he moves. I would have to alter the way I date him. And so like there's always these things going on in my head that prevent me from doing what I know I can do with him.
Again,
I don't know if
responsible
anybody,
breeding, responsible
yeah,
handling, responsible dog owning. Like I love it. Hey, Hector asked a question too. What's one flaw you would allow in a breeding knowing it can be fixed, considering everything else is correct to breed standards?
with Adonis,
I
like,
think that's just a general question, like a flaw that you would allow into your breeding program. Picking a puppy, a flaw that you would allow that you're going to pick from.
damn. If there was no other option, lesser of evils. Holy God, this dog is so loud. I
That's
don't
a
know how
really
you
good
don't.
question. That's a really good question too.
Ooh, yeah,
It
because part of me
is.
feels like I like slight easty westy. I think would be the only flaw that I would be confident that I'd be able to possibly breed out or exercise out or use supplements. There's ways to fix the pasterns environmentally, but because the fact that that pup would be easty westy could in fact be environmental. So I mean, if that's something that can be fixed, but when it comes to any other flaws, like the rear is going to be the hardest to correct. So obviously the rear has to be on point or it's an absolute no-go for launch. I really, really like the elbows to be where they ought to be. If a puppy's already kind of bowing out at the elbows, there's some, it's not, eye set's kind of important. I want to make sure that the eyes are in a position where you can tell that there's going to be room for growth. So that way, that there's a potential that head's going to get, bigger, much bigger, because of the eyesight alone. But yeah, as far as lesser of evils when it comes to picking it up, I would probably say slight easty westy would be the only flaw that I'd be willing to be like, okay, I might be able to work this out. And then obviously try all the environmental fixes first and foremost. And then obviously if you realize that easty westy is genetic, you decide
it's
how bad you want it and how usually it
it's
can be
pretty easy to
corrected.
shorten a back length. That's an easy fix too. If you have like a longer
Also
back,
that, yeah, also that as well.
trying to shorten a back, you can do that pretty easy. Um, some of the things that I think are harder are probably the rear mechanics,
Yeah.
the rear end, and also I'm learning more very recently about it being a little more difficult to add bone in one generation, depending on how much bone you need. Like,
Yeah.
if you're trying to really get that big bone, you got to kind of do that in pieces. It's hard to go from like a smaller bone dog to a
Oh
really
yeah.
heavy bone dog in one breeding. Like,
Yeah, you've got to
we're
play the
like,
long game on that one.
yeah,
There's just no way around it. And then, obviously it's one of those things where you take the risk of, and it's obviously a risk that the breeder's going to have to decide whether or not that's something that they are willing to take the time with, and willing to take the risk with. Because again, it's genetics, it's just Russian roulette.
Raul
You know,
said need a bridge. Yeah, you do.
yeah. It's just one of those things where that first litter, with you trying to add more mass, add more bone, that litter may or may not be very consistent. So obviously at that point, you're going to have to be willing to take a little bit of a hit on deciding on, which ones are going to get pet homed, and which ones you're going to keep internally, which ones you're going to release to the public. But I mean, the inconsistency in that first litter, there's just no dancing around the reality of it, So obviously you've got to be willing to play that long game and to retain what you want to continue. And if you have to breed it back in order to lock that in afterwards, then obviously that would be the method. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, it is a long game item, plain and simple. I mean, smaller fixes, bite, for example, that you can do pretty easily. Easty Westy, same thing. It's probably one of the lesser of evils, but there are certain things that it's going to take generations to kind of iron out or to add or correct.
Yeah, Amanda, let's dive into that. Not too far, but what are environmental traits that can be fixed, or the opposite, can hinder environmental?
I mean, just like we were talking about a second ago, Easty Westy is probably the first thing that you can go ahead and try to fix using environmental correction. So make sure you're putting the right supplements in their food, glucosamine. The other one. It's not calcium, but calcium, yes, as well, but not too much. They'll knuckle. But, making sure that you have their bull raised, you're going to want to make sure that, when you're exercising, when you're walking them on uneven surfaces, things like sand, light gravel, not like the heavy gravel, but the lighter kind. Just make it so that you're strengthening that pastern. So it starts to slightly correct. We have a breed that pretty much, because they develop so much weight so freaking rapidly, that in order to compensate for that, their feet just naturally start to do this, right? Just the way physics works. Like, just like, oh, okay, this is easier to carry weight than this, it's just,
This is
so they're
why you
naturally
keep them light when they're young.
yeah.
Best you
So,
can.
right,
Best you
do
can.
not, fat puppies are kind of a bad thing. I know everyone's just like, oh my goodness, look how cute they are when they're chunkies, and I'm just like, yeah.
It might be fine, but they're a little more likely to be Easty
Yeah.
Westy because they will turn to compensate for that weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's obviously, when that happens, the first thing you do is you're like, okay, well, is my puppy, do they weigh too much right now? There's some with Helios, it was really difficult because there was no amount of feeding or lessening that would correct that, because he just wouldn't stop growing.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to happen. So since starvation is absolutely not an option, we had to go with supplements and exercise, raising the bull, and just kind of really hoping for the best. Keeping the nails trimmed, that's a big one. Some people don't think that takes that takes a toll, but it absolutely does. So keeping the nails trimmed can help them better direct their own feet versus like having to do this to compensate for the fact that their nails are touching the floor. So
They say
know,
cod liver oil is another good thing
yes,
for
absolutely, yeah.
East
I
West.
use salmon oil, but cod liver is also exceptional. So, but yeah, I mean, if there's environmental ways to correct these issues, then obviously you take that method first before you start panicking. But yeah, as far as things that are environmental, there's obviously the Easty Westy. Another thing that is, and this one you have to kind of wait till they're a little bit older, till their joints are set and everything. But if you notice that they're a little cow hopped, start walking them up hills. Just trying to work that inner thigh to help start to correct that. Because again, that could also be the fact that it's just lack of proper exercise. Those muscles just are underdeveloped. Sometimes that's obviously genetic and there's just no escaping that, but you can make it a little bit better by the proper exercise. So yeah, just another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Christopher James, man, tuning in, talking about his toenails hanging over.
I love this man. I really do.
Oh, shout out to
I
Bully
need
the
to do my
Kid, man.
toenails.
Appreciate you doing in
Yeah,
every week.
I'm sure you do, Bully. I'm sure you do.
Yes. Hey, Amanda, someone asked, what do you feed?
What am I feeding right now?
Yeah.
Right now we are going the easy route. I'm doing kibble with supplements and additives, toppers and whatnot. So pretty much we are doing the it's made by Sports Mix, but Wholesome's. We're doing Wholesome's lamb at the moment. We will slowly be shifting to I want to say it's not seafood, it's called something else, marine or something along those lines.
You're right. It's
But I was thinking,
you talking about the Nook Shook Marine
that was one thing I was considering.
or the Sports Mix Marine.
They have their own, not Sports Mix, but Wholesome's. I think they have one.
I'll tell you what, we just Raul had done an episode about it very recently, but
Yeah.
and something that he didn't know that I was telling him was we used a Sam's dog food brand, Members Mark,
That's some
years
good
ago.
dog
Made by
food.
the same company. Yeah.
Years ago that had it was really good, and then I think they had some issues with the manufacturer or something like that, and they quit making a Members Mark dog food for at least 2 years, and then here in the last, I don't know, 6 months or less, they started carrying it again, and it's been new and improved. And I guess they got
I
their
want to make
manufacturing
that.
things lined out, and it's actually got good ingredients.
Hmm.
A lot of them have like first ingredient is chicken or
Right.
or
But I have chicken allergies here at this house.
well,
Dang.
or that's just the chicken flavor. Like I use the lamb, and then there's the
Yeah.
all the flavors. I'm saying the first main ingredient is that meat,
Correct.
and
Yeah,
not a
that's
bunch of
absolutely what you look for.
not a, but
100%.
sometimes you just like, oh, this is a good $100 bag of dog food, and then the first five ingredients are all fillers. It's
100.
like,
Yeah. So you've got to, yeah, you've got to be
but
pretty picky
but
about
they
it. And
have actually do have good ingredients, and they got the omega 3s and 6s in there. They've got probiotics and stuff. It's a good blend, and
yeah.
it's a little heavier than your average bag. So I think the bag is 30 pounds
Mhm.
for like 40 dollars somewhere in there. So you can get 60 pounds of dog food for $80, and
Nice,
it
nice.
and that's cheaper than anywhere just about, and it's really good dog food. And
Yes,
I
it is.
actually transitioned my dogs to it very recently, and they transitioned really smoothly, and their poop is probably the best looking dog poop I've had thus
With
far,
kibble.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like good, consistent, the right, not pasty,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
looking like it should look. I'm
It
really
doesn't have that
impressed with it.
brass smell to it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good discussion
I
that's so
just
weird to
switched
have
to
with
it.
people. Be like, so let's
This is
talk
the
about your
only
dog
live that we
too.
can talk about our dog's poop and say it's beautiful, but we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like a good, I just want to
yeah.
pause there for the people that are viewing in for the
Hey,
first time.
Right.
Like,
you know
hey, a
what?
hard
I'm trying to
turd with
think
the
about.
dog's really intaking a lot of the protein is perfect.
Yeah.
You want a hard, you don't want runny. You don't want a runny
Yeah.
stool. You don't want a loose stool. You want a hard and very, very lightly. Your dogs only poop once a day and it's a hard, that's a good thing. They're
Yeah.
intaking a lot of what they just processed. Bruce, my bad,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
Oh
absolutely.
no, I was trying to think of that dog food, man, that Sam used to sell, but it was they brand of dog food, but it was named something else, and then it turned over to Members Mark. I can't remember that dog food for nothing, man. It's right at the tip of my tongue though, but this been a long time ago, and it was just as good. And Actually, remember Mark was a little bit. They came down on it after they changed the name on it, but I can't think of that. I can't think of that
I
dog.
don't remember
I
either.
can't think of it.
But I tell you what, I've really been impressed with it, and I transitioned to it real easily. Matter of fact, I made that transition since my interview on the live when I was feeding a different brand at that time, and I found this, and it's got better ingredients, and it's cheaper, and they handled it really well. So
Amanda, what are ingredients that you stay away from when you're looking at the bag of dog foods?
Any lentils, peas, I stay away from. Uh, when it comes to any type of like sweet potato or anything like that, I would prefer to put it in myself. Processed sweet potato just kind of freaks me out a smidge. But yeah, absolutely, peas and lentils are an absolute no. I also don't. I found that I remember trying, and this was back when Adonis was a little bit younger. I remember trying the grain free, and it just it he man. I mean, I'm not saying he was losing fur, but it was just one of those things where he just didn't. He wasn't as soft. Uh,
it's
his
hard
fur
on
just
their joints.
yeah,
The grain
and
fee is hard on
yeah.
their joints.
So and it was just, yeah, he wasn't nearly as active. So obviously, that was a very, very short-lived experiment. So definitely avoid grain-free unless your dog has some sort of allergy that would require them to avoid grain. But meal is something that if you can avoid as much, like obviously there's, almost all kibble is going to have some sort of meal in it.
Yeah.
But make sure it's a little bit further down on the ingredients list. The ingredients should probably be as few as possible in a general sense. And that's people as well. All your food should have like 5 to 8 ingredients at most and or less, and that's it. So same with dogs. You don't want to complicate it. But meal in a general sense. If it is in there, may it please be further down. But I always add extra stuff to the food as well, just to make sure that they're getting what they need. I have a probiotic that I use because Adonis is a double dilute. I use Florastor as the probiotic supplement. That's managed to help him with his skin pretty significantly. I add liquid glucosamine. God, I just can't talk tonight. I'm sorry, guys. And then salmon oil. And then for Adonis, because he's more active, I throw peanut butter, but Smucker's natural, the one that's literally, it's just peanuts dash salt. And that's it. There's no other ingredients. It's literally just ground up peanuts with its own peanut oil.
I'm
And
really glad you
that's
said
it.
that
Yeah.
because I don't think a lot of people know that, but
Oh,
um,
yeah. Yeah.
if
Stay
it's
away
not,
from.
I don't want to butcher what it's called, but
Oh, don't. I mean,
it,
the reason why we can't pronounce it is because it's fake. It's awful.
yeah,
Don't do it. Don't
there's
do it.
something that's in most peanut butter it's in all peanut butter that's not all natural peanut butter, and it's not good for the dogs at all.
Yeah.
It's toxic for the
Hey,
dogs,
great
and
Yeah.
info. And I love how you dissect every dog, Amanda. You know what your dogs can intake. You know what to feed your dogs. You know what to add to your dog's dog food. And again, like I love the knowledge. I love the dissection of the dogs that you do for each dog that you have. That's
Adam had a
amazing
good
because
point
you need
right
to
here.
look at that.
He
You
said
have
Hey,
to.
that dog food was Exceed.
Exceed. I've heard of it.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, back in the day.
Adam said
That's right, ladies. Yeah. Yeah.
Adam,
Xylitol.
he was saying dried kibble's hard
It
on
can
the
be.
kidneys and the liver.
Correct. Yeah.
Raw is high
It's,
in water content. Kibble is negative in water content. Well,
yeah.
that's true, Adam. That's a good point. One thing you got to make sure to do if you're feeding your dogs kibble, which a lot of us are, and make sure your dogs are
Yep.
hydrating
Absolutely.
good. Yeah, my
Oh,
Amanda,
yeah.
you hit
dogs
on
are
something
so
too.
thirsty when they drink kibble.
The
I mean, when they
shedding.
eat kibble.
The shedding. the dog food the dog's that's intaking, a lot of people think that's like external thing. It's internal that the dog is relieving itself with the shedding and things such as that. So let's dissect that a little bit. With the dog food, how does that affect their shedding?
It's just lack of nutrition in a general sense. I mean, as blatant as you can make it. It's not enough good oils. Follicles need oils. Skin needs oils. It's not enough of what they need. It's not enough vitamins. Vitamin E is also essential. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about is the lack of vitamin B, not B12, none of that, regular B, vitamin B. Making sure that your dog intakes a certain amount of vitamin B that helps them absorb other nutrients and whatnot. So vitamin B is also a pretty good thing to make sure your dog has, but vitamin E as well. You get your vitamin D from sunlight, so don't keep your dogs inside all the time. I mean, they've got to enjoy the sun.
It affects their serotonin levels too. The sunlight does.
Absolutely. Happy dogs. But yeah, I mean, in a general sense, it's just lack of nutrition, lack of nutrients that causes the dogs to shed because their skin isn't healthy. It's not producing enough natural, healthy oils. When I started putting them on a better probiotic, making sure they had their salmon oil. Every once in a while, I'll take a vitamin E capsule, put that in there. They get
Where
the
do you
oils
get
also,
that?
peanut butter that I put in there.
Where do you get that probiotic? You said, what was the name of it again?
Flora Store.
Flora
Flora
Store.
Store. Mm-hmm.
It's
I get it from Amazon. It's cheaper. I just buy the giant bottle that has like, God, is it 120? Can't remember how many capsules it has in it, but it lasts me a little while but all three dogs get it. All three dogs get it, and it was a lifesaver with Adonis. He's the only double dilute I have. The other ones, it does help them, keep pretty consistent. I mean, you could almost time the day by when they need to go outside. After they eat and everything like that. It's very consistent. And I think that probiotic helps with that. But with Adonis, it really helps with his skin, and with his allergies and everything. He's a sensitive guy. So that has helped significantly. But so has all the oils that I introduce and the vitamins that I introduce.
coconut oil is a really good one to include in
Yes.
your dog's diet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the contrary to what I thought originally when I first got around it, and I thought, well, maybe that might give them diarrhea, but the MCT oil, the coconut oil, actually is the opposite. So if your dog has loose stool, you can give them coconut oil and it'll stiffen it up.
Correct.
Works in your favor there.
Yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
had a question here. It was Leroy said, "What about breeding kibble? What about breeding question mark kibble
Breeding
raw or
kibble.
50-50?" Wanting to know if somebody's breeding.
Oh, well, Anna. It's Anna. She owns Grand Champion Leroy. Leroy's the dog, but that's Anna.
Okay, I'm just reading the
Uh,
name here.
when it when it when
Michael's
it
like, I don't
comes
want no
to
problems, man.
breeding, I know,
I don't want to smoke, man.
common female problem. If we're going to talk about that, no, but when it comes to breeding, honestly, it's going to boil down to what you actually have resource wise. But what I've seen a lot of people have really good success with is a 50-50 of raw with wet dog food, making sure that it's soppy enough as they're growing, and then obviously you solidify a little bit more, adding less water and whatnot as they age. But no, 50-50 is probably because they still need. It is the stupidest thing to say this. Don't take it the weirdest way, but sometimes fillers serve a purpose. And
Absolutely.
having, yeah. So having that 50-50, because you do not want puppies to have too much protein. You definitely don't want them to have too much calcium. So so sometimes the best way to do it is to control it with 50-50 wet down. So
And we've talked
Amanda, real
about this
quick
on here
before we go
before,
any
but
further, so a puppy that has too much protein, what are the signs of it, and how do you restrict that? Because that's a very good topic.
it's so protein is just one of those things that your body takes what it wants, and then it
Waste.
starts to become a
It's waste.
burden on the kidneys
Yeah.
after that point. If you ingest too much and you don't have enough exercise to process it, you have to require that protein. So you definitely don't want to overdo it. But it's just safer to kind of watch very, very carefully, watch for, any sort of lethargic behavior. You're going to want to watch if they're struggling to urinate. But yeah, I mean, you would have to really, really overdo it for an extended period of time before that becomes a problem. But with puppies, because they're so small, and they're not as active. They sleep a lot, so it's like less enough protein to get them what they need and to help them grow and develop is fine, but don't overdo it.
I think another thing worth being said is we talked about doing the 50-50 or whatever. If you're incorporating raw into that kibble, then you need to take precautions that go along with the raw that we've talked about on here on the show
Oh,
before.
absolutely.
You need to have a daily dewormer, or if you don't want to do a natural dewormer, you can pay for a dewormer, but you have to deworm your dogs a lot more regularly.
With raw, yeah.
And in my opinion, you would have to worm them too often to want to afford to pay for it if you weren't doing it naturally. So, we use the raw garlic with the diatomaceous earth, and then let the
Oh yeah.
crush the raw garlic, let it sit in open air for 15 to 20 minutes, and then put it in the food. And that way, that with the food grade diatomaceous earth, which is a fine powder you can get at Tractor Supply, it's a natural dewormer for the dogs. And if you're putting any kind of raw in your food for your dogs, you need to be doing something like that. You can't just worm them
Yeah.
like at the timeline that you would normally worm a dog
Yeah.
when
You can
you're
do it
adding.
probably once a month. And then sometimes in the wintertime, depending on what your climate is, you can almost go to bi-monthly for your deworming. But yeah, with raw, you have to do it frequently enough.
Mhm.
But Sean mentioned a second ago as well. Yes, when it comes to too much protein for puppies, rickets, knuckling. Some people don't know it as rickets; they know it as knuckling. Is also a disastrous byproduct. But again, all you would do to correct that is making sure you're providing supplements. Oh, what is that one called? It's been forever since I've even had to look it up.
Sure
I mean, I
grow?
never had. Huh?
Sure grow?
Sugar 100. Love it.
I don't
Hey,
think that.
that's the best thing for
Mary
rickets.
Man,
would know. Mary
I
would
hate they
know. Where's
hey,
my
I
Mary?
hate they
Where's
went
my
up on the
Mary?
price on it.
Yeah, but
Hey,
yeah,
rickets, man, people freak out about it because it's crazy. Like the bone
it,
development of puppies.
it don't look right.
Like, yes, hey, you have to understand, like, if you're putting too much protein, Sean, great point. Like, putting too much protein on a dog, rickets will take
Sure, bro.
place.
Yeah, it's different
Like,
than.
and that's really like bones that aren't developed, like, hey, ricketing over, like going over, and hey, you have to
Knuckling
take
over,
back the
yeah.
protein. Don't freak out. It's a crazy sight, but understand what you're looking at and understand that you need to back up the protein. And like she was saying, kibble. Sometimes a filler is a good thing to really balance the diet. If you have a dog that's taking in too much protein that wants to constantly eat and things like that, like you need to withdraw that from the pack and give it a little more filler or give it less protein or things like that, because ricket will take place.
Yeah.
I'd probably
But
side note on that.
yeah, Sean, you're right. It's sugar, bro. I mean, it's there's also calcium phosphorus. Oh crap, whatever. But also effective. But again, and Vicky said it as well, is vitamin D is also effective in kind of helping correct that, because environmental wise.
About calcium phosphate.
There, yeah, that's there you go. That's the one I was trying to say. I was like, phosphate. But yes, but yeah, that also helps combat the knuckling and everything like that, as well as making sure that they're getting enough sunlight and whatnot. But and SureGrow obviously is a good source to use for that. But when I said earlier that dogs need some type of filler, what I mean by that is it needs to be a natural. So you're gonna laugh, but rices, pastas, grains, those are natural fillers. So when I say that, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about the fake stuff, the synthetic, man-made. I'm talking about like grains,
Potatoes
rice.
are good too.
Yeah, certain types of potatoes, absolutely.
Potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. So like you got to be hyper specific about it. But that's what I mean when I say, so yes, dogs do need carbs. Carbs are sugar. I'm sorry, but I mean, nutrition 101, carbs are sugar. You cannot completely take sugar away from your diet. You'll die. It's just not good for you. So carbs are a form of sugar. So they need it. So they just, obviously, you got to be a little, strategic with how you implement it. In this case, obviously, the natural fillers are going to need to be as natural as humanly possible. So that's what you're going to have to go with. But yeah, that's what I meant when I said like fillers are necessary. Those are true natural fillers, not the crap you find in kibbles. There's like, I don't even know what this word is. Is it Greek? Is it Dutch? What is it? I can't even pronounce it. Not those. Yes, and vitamin C as well, Adam. Yes. What on
All right, Amanda,
earth is
I
that
love
long
your
word Adam
dissection.
wrote?
Amanda, I love your dissection of dogs. I love your dissection of your own program, of other dogs, things like that. So, what show are you going to next? What's the next stage for your camp over there? I know you said that you're going to go to more BRC shows, things like that. What's the next show you're going to?
I'm going to Shanika show in Birmingham on the 14th of December. It's a sanctioned ICBR and fun show. I want to say this is her first. So I'm like super excited for her and for it. And yeah. So that's the next
Balling
one
with
I'll
the
be going to.
Bulls. Bruce, you going?
I don't know, man. You know how I work.
That is not an answer.
That's a long shot.
That's in like 2 weeks, bro.
Yeah. I was just happy that you came to this last one. At that point, I saw you and the wife, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" So I was stoked that you made it. I truly was. That was fantastic. It was nice to have you there.
Yeah.
And you got
Hey,
to see one of our sons.
Hey, real quick, man. So in the Bully Talk group, the QuadCast group, I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna give a little insight. So we all sit there and dissected each other the other day, and we figured that we would actually make a balanced American bully. And I want people's input on this because it was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Oh man.
Bruce added the mess. I added the dome. Michael added the temperament, and Amanda just added the balance and the intelligence of the dog. And if we're wrong, please correct us. But it was the funniest.
Yeah, that was
It
great.
was the funniest conversation I have ever been a part of. Like,
It was
but
just
it was
one of those
so
things
true.
that just happened so organically too, because Caleb decided he was going to ask because he saw a picture of Bruce and his wife. It was a beautiful picture, and he was like, "Hey, what's his stud fee, or what's your stud fee?"
Yeah, that's where it started. Yeah.
That's where it started. And when we finally like ironed down after a couple jokes and whatnot, we kind of ironed down that, yeah, he was definitely asking Bruce what his stunt fee was. And he's like, yeah, I definitely would add girth. And, at that point, Caleb was just like, yeah, and I'd probably add dome. And I was like, well, I couldn't add temperament because that'd be nutso. So I guess I'll just add balance. Temperament would be 100% Mike.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Hey,
so
but look though,
go ahead, Bruce.
don't forget the nicknames. The nicknames that we gave each
Oh yeah, well, most of you already know that Bruce is
that we
two
gave each other.
trains. He's two trains.
So look, Caleb is Mr. Clean. Amanda is Kansas. And Michael is Big Dog because that's his truck handle.
That was
Yep.
Man, you got the best nickname. And then Bruce, my bad. What
I
do you
don't know.
Bruce, my bad.
Two trains is pretty damn
Two
cool.
trains is pretty hard, I have to say.
I said, hey, Adam gonna always call me Two Trains. I might as well stick with Two Trains. I ain't got no other choice.
Neither do I.
Yeah. I thought Kansas was perfect for Amanda.
Yeah.
What else could it be? I mean,
and then Big Dog, self-inflicted Big Dog. I want to be Big Dog.
The Big Dog.
Of course
Hey,
you do.
man, it started in the truck. You know what I mean? And because my decal on the truck, which is the same dog face that's on my kennel logo, different business logo, but the same dog face. And then so I had the dog on my door in the dump truck, and then they're like, hey, tell the dude with the big dog over here, and then where's Big Dog going? And where's Big Dog at? And then it just turned into this whole thing, and I haven't been able to get away from it.
So
I mean,
Big Dog.
normally what
I
happens
said, y'all
in the
call
rig
me
stays
fat?
in the
Is that what's
rig,
going
but
on?
this one's stuck, huh?
No.
No, that's when I was in the dump truck. I'm like, well, I gotta be the big dog. I mean, I'm not that big, right? And then
Yeah, man. But I love our group, man. I love our group. And Amanda, like, you are the final straw, like, and I'm saying that, like, you are the final interview, like, but Lord, we did this systematic because Adonis was going to champion this week. That's why we actually moved Amanda to the final week. And for her to do it right before, and the work that you put in for this, and the work every single time, like when Amanda goes to a show, she dress coordinates for the show, whether it's inside or outside, whether who's judging. Yes, I will embarrass you because that's how articulate you are, but that's a praise. Like, it's amazing what you do for the show. You know exactly the boundaries that you can go within driving distance. You know what to wear for it because you know the complexes that we're going to. You coordinate that with the lead that you have with the dog that you're showing. And I love that.
Matching colors with the dog, yeah.
So why do you do that? Let's touch on that. Why is it?
Well, it harkens back to watching all those dog shows. And a little bit of, obviously, I worked over a decade in the hospitality industry, and so like I had to dress up. So it just became such a thing where it's just like I correlated that with professionalism. So I was that idiot that, like, on Fridays when they're like, the HR is like, hey, pay $5 and you can wear jeans to work on Friday. I paid the $5 and still dressed in my business. Because I am an idiot.
So you paid the $5, but you would dress.
I'd still, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. But like, so I just remember, again, watching these people, they're dressed to the nines. Now, granted, some of them, so some of those outfits that you see at Eukanuba or Westminster are a little bedazzled. So obviously I'm never going to go that far. Some of those are as tacky as you can get without completely going
Amanda, I'm
overboard.
going to cut you off. If you went to Westminster, you would be the most bedazzled. It would be a blue dress. You would be bedazzled out. Don't even.
There would be no sequins, sir. None. There'd be no sequins.
Not a sequence
Thank you
type of
very much.
girl.
No glitter, no sequins. I would be, man, it would be real nice.
Trayvon said, "I'm glad." What do you say? I'm glad I got to share the ring with Amanda Jean Nixon before she champed. Congratulations again.
Oh yeah, he brought his ARC son out.
Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful
yeah.
boy. Uh, yeah,
Flex. Yeah,
Flex.
that's right.
yeah,
Flex is yeah, man, and he's not done yet. Oh, I can't wait to watch
yeah.
that boy grow.
He's
He's
growing.
got the
He's growing
makings
up
of
good.
Slow developing
he's
blood. That's a nice
he's
boy.
a true testament to his lineage. Yeah, Bruce should be proud. But yeah, no, I would not be glittered out and bedazzled. No, it would be very classic and chic. Thank you very much. But no, I try to dress so that the colors that I wear, and it is 100% based on the dog that I'm bringing, the dog that I'm showing. With Adonis, I can't wear anything light. I have to wear something that can easily be contrasted against him, so that way when the judge is assessing, nothing is blurring into the color of my garment. So with him, I typically wear really, really bright, sometimes dark colors, blacks, dark greens, bright blues, things like that. With Helios, I just can't wear red. He's easy. I just can't wear red. Like, and maybe I can't wear so much black because he does have all those darker sable markings. But for the most part, yeah, he's a little bit easier because literally that's the only color that's sort of like, don't do that, stupid. But yeah, I can't. Yes, exactly, Nikki. I can't wear no tan.
But do you
Yeah, not
see
that.
the articulation that she does when she goes to shows? Like, I said it in a joking form, but I was making a point. She articulates her color scheme to make sure she goes with the dogs and understands the judges she's going to, too. Amanda understands the ring she's entering before she does. And that's what I love. Like, when I talk to her, it's dissecting so many different things. It's layers. Like, and I'm so glad that we cross paths where we're able to develop this, where we can go into layers of it. Because when you're talking about the outfit you're wearing to match the dog, your articulate level, your IQ of a dog level of showing a dog is very, very high, and you deserve this platform. You've earned this platform. You deserve this praise. You deserve all the people that are watching you each and every week. You deserve the BWO platform that you were introduced to. You deserve all these different platforms that people are asking you to go on to. Like, Amanda, you're doing some really good stuff over there. All praise coming from this way.
That was a great interview too.
I learned from y'all. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like, again, starting this, I knew what I knew then. But over the course of these 2 years, it's like through you guys, through the guests that we've had, through oh gosh, my friends, the people who have mentored me and supported me. It's you evolve. So for me, it's just like I'm not the same woman I was 2 years ago. I know things now that I would have never thought I would have needed to know, but I do now. Uh, I know things that have come in clutch, in really, really scary time frames from the people that, have helped me grow as a dog owner and a handler. And, it's just all this is all y'all. Like, this is everybody watching. This is
Peepaw, you're
everybody.
finna get up.
Hmm?
My dog is
Michael thought he was on
all
mute,
in my
but
way.
no, Amanda, it's not all of us. Like, you solidified this group, and it's you. Like, Amanda, I'll take the floor for a second, Amanda Jean Nixon. we were in a world of turmoil when Amanda came on. So me and Bruce started this with Peyton, and we went a different direction, and Amanda was introduced as a temporary person that was coming on.
That's what they told me.
It was meant to be permanent from day one, and others even said the same thing, but it clicked. And I remember like Amanda saying like, hey, followers were down because the transition was taking place. And I said this last week, but it's like, hey, she's like, I will leave this live, bring such and such on as the permanent guest or as the permanent host. And me and her had a conversation that night. And it's like, no. Like, you were meant to be permanent. And a light switch flip that day. And she has never, ever, Bruce, you are testimony to this. She has never, ever once turned back from that. Yep. She turned into a completely different animal, and she started reaching out to everybody. And look at the relationships that you have formed. Look at the relationships that you know, because you stepped out on that balcony and you reached out. You did that. You deserve your flowers. Take them. Good stuff, Amanda. Seriously.
For sure.
Yeah, you guys gave me the opportunity, gave me the motivation. So definitely thank you guys for having the faith and bringing me on, and Anthony, and building my confidence, because again, I thought I was just temporary, and having a conversation. I was I can't even remember like how that happened. I was in a public space. I want to say I was at a bar.
You were at the bar and you said, I'm ugly crying at the end of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone thought something like like my grandmother died or some shit. And I'm like, no, I'm happy. I'm an idiot. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where, you guys gave me a motivation. And ever since then, like literally the way that I operate has changed. The way that I view the community, the way that I assess things, dissect things, the perspectives that I have, like those are all developments that occurred by me being here, being in this spot with you guys. So yeah, no, when I say that, a lot of this is all y'all, it kind of is. I mean, you guys made me better.
No, you were last for a reason, because you were the last that glued this together. You are the glue. You are the mama bear. We're now the QuadCast on a group message, but you are the glue, and it grew from you. So you were systematically put last because we knew you were going to champion Adonis, and we wanted to give your flowers, and we wanted to let you know, like, you are appreciated. Like, the relationships that we have all formed have been because of the glue of you. Keep doing your thing, and you don't realize the impact that you're having on the community. Like, it's truly, truly impacted. Like, look at you. Like, you're going on like, next person that wants her as a guest, I am her agent. Reach out to me. But no, I love it, because like the growth of
looking at you,
all of
AJ.
us,
We're looking at you. We're looking at you. You're next.
The growth from all of us from this live, and especially you, it's just been remarkable. Like, keep doing your thing. Like, you deserve this.
Don't make the lady cry, Caleb. Yeah, thanks, Anthony.
Like at the bar. Like at the bar.
I've already, I cried then. Don't make me cry now. It's a little ridiculous. It's a little too easy. I need you to stop. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but no, keep doing your thing. Like, you need to know the impact you have on the community. Like, the XL community, like, they view him every Tuesday. Like, the entire community views him Tuesday, and you are a main interviewer. You are the main person that's interviewing these people. You're the main person that's actually really getting these people scheduled. Like, you keep, man, Bruce, like, she keeps us so scheduled. We can't get off schedule with her in the group.
Well, I love talking to people, so like I just reach out to people and we talk about dogs. I'm like, hey, by the way, I kind of like your style. I kind of dig it. You want to talk dogs on like a live?
Oh man.
Is that how you do that?
Yo, I cannot tell you how many times, like, I'll be like, I mean, hell, Hannah. Oh, what a fun interview that was. Hannah Adams. Like, I actually, like, I was talking to her at a show, and you know, I mentioned it, and eventually she came on the show. Uh, Sarah Rose, same thing. I met her at a show. We just started talking dogs, and you know, I was just like, "Hey, listen, you know, my friends and I have this live that we do on Facebook every Tuesday night. Would you be interested?" And she came on, and like, I mean, it literally, it's just one of those things that, like, you know, you talk to these people in person, you realize what a good vibe they have. The fact that they're talking to me in a way that they're being kind and they're being open and they're, you know, in a very educational fashion. I'm sitting there thinking, like, these are the kinds of people that we want, right? So I'm just like, hey, pitch the show.
Hey, Michael.
Completely
Yes.
unapologetic plug.
Michael
And
was
that
literally.
right there was,
Hey, Mike was
oh,
literally falling asleep. Did you see him? Did you see it?
What's that?
Did you see his? Mike was literally falling asleep. He almost dropped the phone out of his hand. You ain't see him?
Listen, I've had like
I'm sorry,
4 hours
baby.
of sleep.
Did we put you past your bedtime?
I've
was he
had four
snoring?
hours of sleep. I've had 4 hours of sleep. I don't even know how
Oh,
I don't know how I'm staying awake at all right
my
now.
bad,
I
Caleb.
don't think
My bad,
All
baby.
right. Well, Amanda, before we go any further,
Yeah.
I asked for the question last week, and I'm going to give you the question because I can't wait for this response. I know there's been dissection, insection, bilateral, whatever. New breeders. That's what we do this for. Reach one, teach one is the motto that we go to. Newer breeders that are viewing in, what would you tell them?
Ooh. Um, I mean, mentorship is massive. The right mentorship. Um, before you even get that first dog, get with people that have a passion for the breed, but have a passion for people. They want to see you shine. They don't want you to become just one of their clique, one of their clan. They want you to shine. You know, they want you to do your own thing. They want you to be successful. Um, but also, you know, outside of the realm of mentorship, surround yourself with like-minded people in the sense of they have that same love for the breed, that same love for dogs in a general sense, that same desire to see people succeed, even if it isn't them. You know, people that are constantly wanting to learn more. Having somebody that thinks that they know everything, it can be hard to get around. But if you have a thrill for knowledge, find people to spend your time with that also have that same desire that they want to grow as well. Because I mean, if you're not learning something new every day, you're doing it wrong. You know, and you've got to be open to that concept and surround yourself with people that are also you know, they can reconcile themselves with learning something new every single day, even if it's from you. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, find the right mentors that want to see you shine independently, and surrounding yourself with like-minded, kind-hearted, educational, enlightening people.
That's it.
Hey, real quick, Amanda, like to close this, like the only way we can close this better is you're talking about the community. This last weekend, you almost didn't make it to the show that championed Adonis, and the community showed up.
Yeah.
We too often talk about the negative of the community. Let's end on the positive of the community and how they showed up.
That's a great point. That's
Yeah,
a good story.
Man.
and
I
we
come
So
up
talked
with some
about
good
this
stuff
too.
every now and
you
then, fellas.
did, absolutely. So I remember the very first thing that the first time I mentioned was like, oh, you know, my car's in the shop. I'm afraid I might not make this show. First phone call that comes in is Adam Fields. And he's just like, you know, where's the car? What do you think you need? what sound, like he's doing the mechanic thing. What sound was it making? That embarrassing. You're like, am I gonna have to make the sound too? That whole thing that
Did you make the sound?
that
Because if you
mechanics
did,
love to
please
joke about. But
do
it's
it.
like, make this person make the noise their car's making.
What
Seems
is
like
the sound,
yeah,
Amanda?
reproduce that sound. You're like,
What sound was it making?
it wasn't making no sound, Caleb, because it's dead. It
All right, my bad.
died.
Continue.
It literally stopped shy of rapturing. Okay, it was there. It was dead.
Oh man.
But I mean, obviously, first, yeah, thanks, Anthony. No, you're not hearing the sound. There was no sound. It was dead. Adam was the first person that reached out and was just like, hey, what do you think we can do? Do you think can you think of what it is? Let's go explore some options. Then, we had, oh gosh, this was super fun. I mean, even Daniel, New Foundation, he reached out and was just like, where are you located? Let me start looking into options. Vicky and Corey, they were already looking up rentals, like to get discounts and things like that. And they were going to go ahead and try to schedule one for me so that way I just had to find my way over to whatever rental place there was. I mean, they were, doing that in the background. Bruce, was just like, if you can find your way up here, I've got, extra car you can borrow, just, so it's just literally people were coming out of the woodwork with coming up with suggestions as to what it could possibly be, how we could possibly fix it, where to buy the parts,
Amanda, what was the sound effects? We got people that are wanting the
it
sound
was
effects. So when you
dead.
turn the
There
key,
was
what did it do?
zero sound effect. My man, what part of that is hard? Literally, you click over the key and there ain't shit. Nothing. Nothing. There was no sound. There was literally no sound. There was no clicking. There was no buzzing. There was nothing. It was literally, you turn the key over and it's just like nothing. So
That's the sound effect I was looking for.
but I'm telling you though, the moment that it was ultimately, the starter was bad, so it was killing the battery. It killed the battery. So both the battery and the starter ultimately had to be changed out. And I'm telling you, man, I cried on Friday night when I finally was able to get everything installed and that car cranked over. I just cried. And then I went to the show on Saturday and then didn't know, I got my title until
And then you championed
Thursday.
out, and you deserve that. Like, look at all the heartache that led to that. Look at this dog woman that we have on this group. Like, man, thank you again for what you do. Like you were so distraught. And then the next day you're there and you championed out. Like, that is heart, that's glory that goes into the grit that people don't see. We constantly show the good of the breeding, the good of the shows.
Yeah.
They don't know those hard nights that you drove. Amanda, you get like a 4-hour window, which is smart. I need to create that window. But you have that window.
Interest of self-preservation, Caleb. Yes, you do.
Yes, but like those 2-3 o'clock in the mornings that you were driving home, even at 4 hours, like, because some shows, I've been at shows at 11:30 at night.
Pendleton. Yeah. Driving all the way out to Pendleton or not McDonough, Perry, Georgia. There's some UKC shows out in Perry, Georgia. And it's a 4-hour drive. And I'm telling you, when you're making that drive late at night alone, I mean, I was talking to Lois and Joe Villarreal about that at the show. When they are able to go together, they can kind of take turns driving, which is what makes that possible. But yeah, I'm all by myself. So I gotta be careful.
Yes. Hey, Amanda, mentors. Who are mentors that you've really looked to in this game? Because I know you and you're a very sentimental person, and there's people that are watching that have viewed in that you want to recognize. Okay. So who are mentors to you?
I mean, first and foremost, it's Mary Scribner. She's who I got Adonis from. She has been fundamental. She convinced me that that showing was something that I was capable of doing in the first place, and so that's kind of what got me started. Was her being very supportive in that endeavor, and she has just been phenomenal in teaching me little tricks of the trade here and there. If I have a question about anything whatsoever, I reach out to her and she's on it like crazy. You know, Vicki Phillips, Corey Latham, Southern Hearts Bullies. They are amazing. They literally are the reason why Adonis doesn't sit in the ring anymore, with the exception of show one, this last weekend, is because of them. They taught me how to prevent that. They taught me how to work our way through that together. You know, it's, you know, being able to, you know, have these people in your life that are, again, they want you to shine independently. They're not doing it so that I can thank them later or so that I can give them credit later. They're doing it because they genuinely want to see the success and they want to watch you celebrate, and they just want to know that they, you know, that they were helpful to you, because that's just part of that legacy. You know, your legacy isn't just the dogs you breed. Your legacy is what you leave the community in a general sense, and that includes the people. So that's something that some people, I feel, have really kind of forgotten. Yeah, and at least he didn't poop in the ring. There's that, Adam. I appreciate it.
Why
I
do we
wouldn't
got to end it on a
dispute
shit
You
Shots
will
situation?
fired.
never live that down. I don't think you understand. There is absolutely no way you're ever living that down, especially the fact that all of us were there that day. We all saw it. There is no way you're living it down, Caleb. I'm sorry.
It was
That
quite a
is true,
pile.
but tonight is your night, and such a good way to finish it. Like, seriously though, like, again, your flowers, you deserve them. Michael, take your ass to sleep. Bruce, two
I
Good day,
credits. I love you, my
baby.
man.
Go.
I ain't hardly got no choice. Look, I'm
Yes, but Amanda, is there any parting words that you would like to say, that questions we didn't ask, because you are our main interviewer? So tonight, we all collectively, and boys, I think we did a good job really asking questions, all three of us, like
Oh yeah.
really turning the seats on her, because she's our point guard.
Yep.
So if there's any other questions that want to be asked, or if there's any other questions that we didn't ask Amanda, like, have the floor and really give us a kind of a conclusion on tonight.
Well, you know, honestly, kindness is free. You may pay to get in shows, you know, pay to show your dog, but the kindness that you give the people that are there and the other people that are struggling with you is free. Like, give it out. You know, we are all in a position to better this breed by bettering each other. That's where it starts, is bettering each other. So, you know, animosities, can't afford it. Bitterness, can't afford it. Jealousy, can't afford it. Just be kind to one another, you know, teach each other and be receptive to being taught. You know, again, you know, the first step to bettering the breed is bettering the breeders.
I agree with that.
He done knocked himself off again.
He did. He
Mine
did.
was,
It's
I
because he
don't
keeps
know,
on, I
mine
don't know
was
what he
just
keeps
fading
on
away.
trying to do. Now it says I can't add him. It's like, you can't add him due to technical issues. You're a technical issue. Did you know that, Caleb? You are a technical issue in and of yourself. You just woke up like this.
My bad. And damn you, Adam. Adam,
Walmart Wi-Fi,
I was
baby. Is that
responding to you
Walmart
and actually
Wi-Fi?
hit
You
you.
know it is.
Adams was
Damn you.
got me too. When I got man,
Yes,
every
no,
time, man.
this was Amanda's night, and I want to make sure that she gave herself enough flowers tonight. So, yes, I was interrupting to make sure that she really understood the gratitude that she deserves, because she is the glue. And so, Amanda, again, thank you tonight. Adam. Hey,
Yes.
You
love
don't
everyone
Thank
that
you for
deserve
tunes
all
in.
that you
that.
do,
Come
Seriously,
on
like,
Amanda.
this
now.
is why we do it. Like, we have a good time, but we try to bring knowledge, and I hope everyone learns something. So, Amanda, flowers to you again, fellas.
Thank you.
Man, nothing but love. QuadCast, man, love you.
Hey,
Love y'all,
y'all,
man.
look, I'll be on with Chris Holiday Friday. I think
Ooh,
we're gonna be on at
yeah, yeah,
9, so
yeah.
I'll be on
That's
with Chris.
Yep.
right. So
That's
Friday morning,
what's
what
up.
time again, Ben?
9.
I think it's at 9.
9.
Chris, you
That's
owe
what
me
yeah.
$500. I'm his agent.
Corrupt. There'll be a
Yes, no,
Hey, but
documentary
we
later about how corrupt he is
So
with
wait a minute.
these
Are you
agents.
saying that you got $500 when I filled in for you? Because I didn't get no
Woo!
500.
we'll talk about
Oh,
that
there it
later.
goes.
We'll talk about that
You
later. Go to sleep. Sleep on that.
nobody say nothing.
Amanda, great live.
Yeah.
Great
oh
live.
yeah. Hey, we
Thank you.
appreciate y'all for watching. Next week, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Who we got, Amanda?
Ooh, man. Okay, so ABKC National is coming up, and then we have a showcase, you guys. And the showcase includes multiple varieties, one of which consists of dogs that are just under the pocket minimum height. So you may call them micro, some call them miniatures, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call them. Some of the best ones are made by two people, Hans Berquist and Samantha Tompkins, and
There we
they are
go.
going to be, they're going to be our guests this upcoming Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. So any kind of questions you guys have about this variety, what it's gonna look like when it comes to ABKC Nationals and beyond. What their hopes are for that variety, basically how it all started on their part in their program, if just what they're looking at and what you're looking at, because most things happen because most of these misconceptions can cause issues, and that's where that fear, that trepidation comes from. So this can help give you a little bit of perspective about how these dogs are produced, and what you're really going to see and put hands on it. So don't want to miss that, guys.
Tune in with us, guys.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mike,
Y'all take care.
go to sleep.
I'm going to
We'll holler
bed
at y'all
right
Go
tomorrow.
to
now.
bed,
Look,
baby.
I got to
He's like,
get
I've
up at
been
4 in the
asleep.
morning,
He's
so
like already there.
I'm like,
Y'all take it easy. Peace. Good night,
All
y'all.
right,
good
y'all
night.
take
Good
Hey,
care.
night.
have a wonderful holiday
Appreciate
now.
y'all.
Mr.
Y'all have a
Clean
good
out.
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, you
All right.
guys.
All right.